allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adjustments to the agenda. The first one we're gonna do is move executive session up to, can we do it between communications and review and approve?
We can.
We're gonna put it between 4 and 5. We're gonna go to executive session. Any communication or any other adjustments?
I have none.
All right, any other communications or public comments? Doesn't look like we have any, so I'd like to go into, so I need a motion to go into executive session. Priscilla, that's you.
A motion to enter into executive session at 6:32
Yeah.
to discuss a student matter and personnel matter where premature public knowledge could place the individuals and or the board at a disadvantage, and invite the administration.
How much administration are we inviting, Andy?
I think it's probably be, I think you want John in this one.
Okay. We're gonna invite John.
I get to be in one now. Yeah.
They're not fun. So. Motion has been made to go into executive session and invite administration. All those in favor, give me a thumbs up.
All right, give me a minute to put people in there.
We are going into executive session.
See you, Rebecca. Have a good night.
She's coming back.
Give me 1 second.
Were we supposed to call?
I'll get
Jim
Rebecca and Jim.
Rebecca?
Oh, I'll never look at this.
Were we supposed to, approve these draft minutes for budget meeting during the budget meeting?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have David. Margot.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh,
She thinks you
okay. Mark, there's somebody,
probably Mark Givo.
okay. Brenda, Miss Brenda.
What happened to Brenda? It was just there.
Who's that?
He's up there in front.
Oh, there she is.
Show, not to Brady Bunch, but the squares. Yeah, you're old.
You're cruising.
Got it.
All right,
Thank you. Okay, we got everybody back,
yeah, you're on your spot.
so I haven't got, okay. So we are we're out of executive session. And
Thank you, Jason.
we need to review and approve, well, first thing, let's adjust the agenda. We're gonna put 8D. And then let's go to 5, review and approve board minutes for January 9th. Anyone have any
I did
comments?
not find them, but that may be just that I didn't find them, so.
Did you guys find the minutes?
Yeah, Nicole had put him on the meeting thing.
Yeah, that's where I saw
I
them.
Maybe I didn't look there.
So are you comfortable approving them, or would you like to wait till next meeting?
It's up to the rest of the board members. I would wait because I haven't read them, but
Okay, so
it's up to the other board members. And you,
let's, is everyone comfortable waiting until next meeting so everyone has a chance to read them? Doesn't sound like we got that yet.
Molly, I would like to table approval of the minutes to the next meeting. That's a
Thank you.
motion. That's a motion.
So let's take a vote. David,
Yes,
Margot,
Yes,
you don't sound good. Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
yes,
June,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Thank you. So we will, look at those minutes so that we can approve them on our next meeting. Reports, Jim, finance report, you're up.
Okay. Does everybody have a copy of this report?
Negative.
no,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I need to get up.
That one.
Okay. So, a lot has changed. I think if you would look at page 1. By function, you can see where we are. And I mean, if you go to where what indicates that we're over on a budget. For instance, the school board services, you can see we're 33,000 over what we had budgeted. And that's just an indicator. And the school board services, you can find on page 17. And just one of the items, I'm just, you can take your time and go through this when you want, but one of the items that were over on school board services is legal. So, just an indicator, and I mean, that's just, we're over. And sometimes that happens. Yeah, I think in total, I think we're holding, to what we haven't encumbered, which is 600,000. And the revenues look fine. The revenues you can find on page 22 and 23.
The legal is other professional services. Is that what legal's under?
Legal what?
Is that other professional services? Where is legal?
Legal is on that page 17. And
Yes,
that's,
it is. It said legal services, 5341, other professional services.
yeah. And I just tag it as a 5321, which is a contracted service. And that's typically what I would do. We budgeted 1,000. It was set up for $1,000 budget originally for this year. And we've expended 20. Okay with that one?
Is it this one?
Yes, right there.
Other professional services.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that's what
Yep.
I didn't see legal services there.
It's over on the left.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Okay.
So, anyways, I think you're okay, and as I said, your revenues, on page 22 and 23. And the one thing that we'll have to keep an eye on, I mean, we budgeted originally for and this is on page 22, $143,000 of local revenues, and I'm looking at line 4. Now, and again, there's sometimes a few different revenue streams that come in. For instance, Rebecca and I were talking about the driver education. And each class, as we put those into the state, usually there's some reimbursement for those students. And we'll get that on some line, but it won't be $143,000 worth. So we may be a little bit short, and it may eat into some of that, what looks like a positive balance on the expenditures.
I have a question.
Yes.
On number 12 on that page 22.
Yeah.
How come Westminster is more than Rockingham when my fellow Rockingham board members say that they pay more than we do?
Wow.
Why is that? It's over, Westminster on behalf of the state homestead taxes pays 494,212. And this says Rockingham pays 457,074.
And that's the non-residential. And you have to add them both together, the homestead plus the non-residential.
Oh, okay, there's 2
And-
lines for each.
Yes, 2
Okay.
lines for each. So,
All right, now I get it.
okay. And it is sometimes difficult, but even in the tax rate setting, the tax rate setting is so complex. And both of those enter into the picture.
Mhm.
So. Any questions on any particular aspect of the expenditure? Look straightforward. And again, I think on that first page, it kind of throws you in that, it looks like you're in the hole, but again, it's because all of the other salaries are, they put everything into the 511 top line.
I don't have any questions. Priscilla, you got any questions?
No.
June,
Fine.
Jason,
No, I'm good.
anybody on the screen? Everybody else up? Thank you, Jim. I'm not sure, I'm gonna ask, for your advice, do I still need you? I'm looking at, the bond and the
Yep.
tuition rate, or are you sticking around, or Andy, you handling that, or usually we let him go, but
I'd like to keep.
yeah, I would too, but thank you. So thank you very much. And now I'm gonna look for Mr. Broadley for the principal's report.
Okay, I'll keep it quick and short. Winter sports continuing to go along, girls and boys basketball and indoor track. Track students continue to improve in their individual events. Been watching them week by week. The thing with track is they do a lot over December and January, but a lot of our kids that are participating are coming back with PRs, that's as positive as you can hope for. Basketball teams records are as follows: boys varsity are 7-3 now, boys JV are 5-2, girls varsity are 3-8, and girls JV are 2-3. Our exam schedule it got kind of changed because of our snow day yesterday. We were going to have in-house exams on today and tomorrow, and then finals on Thursday and Friday. We have now moved that, and again with the possible Thursday weather interruption, we've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as in-house exams, which gives staff the flexibility that if we do lose time or a day on Thursday because of the weather, we'll be okay. And the finals now are Monday and Tuesday, with our in-service, the high school in-service day that we don't take in November for a wrap up and get your grades done and get ready to start semester 2. The Bells Falls Union High School this weekend, Friday and Saturday, we're going to host the Winter District Music Festival. Friday, the kids will come from all over to rehearse, both in choral and band. And then on Saturday, they'll rehearse in the morning, and there'll be a presentation in the afternoon. And we have students from both the high school and the middle school represented this weekend. So come on out. It's 3 o'clock on Saturday is the performance. That'll be awesome. On Tuesday, January 24th, oh, that's right now, that's tonight. I was hoping to go to present at Weathersfield Elementary. They have each year they do a presentation evening where we can encourage their outgoing 8th graders as tuition students to attend BFUHS. Unfortunately, I mean, I love going to this. I say unfortunately, but I love going to that event. But I had another staff member cover and go and present, and he will do an amazing job. And hopefully we get a student or two that want to come to BFUHS. That's at least I think 22,000, Jim, is it per student? Could be, yeah. High school projects, again, we talked a little bit, and we'll probably talk a little bit later. M&E are now firmly going on to get a bid for the basic HVAC renovation, and then have the add-ons as that one of their reps had talked with Jim and found out exactly what we want to get from them, and hopefully they'll be able to come back with prices that we can then get ready to move forward on ESSER when that comes back. The breaker for the generators, it's in line to get fixed. We're just waiting for the availability of the person to come and do it. And then again, tonight, we'll talk a little bit more about the roof project. We're waiting for, or not waiting, but we're at a stage now where we've had concept approval. And if we get the price for the job, we can put that up. But again, there's more conversation this evening, I think, that we'll have later on for in the project area. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Broadley? Wow, you got off easy tonight. Let's move on to unfinished business. FY 24 discussion and anticipated approval of a budget. Who wants to speak to that?
Do we need a motion first?
Sure, let's start a motion. I'd like a motion to, yep, you got the number?
Yep.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve the amount of $7,672,000 for our budget for fiscal year 24.
and is there any questions, any comments? We've had some pretty good board, budget meetings. A lot of you were in them. We haven't cut anything off the budget that, Principal Bradley or Jim brought to us. It looks like a decent budget. It is up, 4.94, is that what I heard?
Correct.
Which, as far as, you know, I don't think that's bad at all, considering as much as what inflation is right now, but David, what you got?
Well, Molly, I made this point during the budget committee meeting earlier tonight. It's my strong belief that since the school currently seems to be able to exist with 4 math teachers, I am reluctant to support a budget which includes funding for more than math teachers. So I anticipate that I will be opposing this budget. I want to get that out there ahead of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, one comment I would like to make is that the voters approved $100,000 from the fiscal year 2021 fund balance to create a fund to offset expenditures for 2024. So that will have to be applied, and so the fund balance, the motion I made included the budget that we are putting out there, but that will be lowering taxes by 100,000.
Thank you. Jason?
I said this in the budget meeting, and I just want to make myself clear that I don't mind spending money as long as we're getting measured results with payback. The school is in desperate need of things to repair it. And, you know, I just want to make sure going forward that we see results and get our bang for our buck, so to speak. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments before we vote on an approved budget amount to take to the taxpayers? All right, there's a motion on the floor to accept and approval of a budget of $7,672,000. David, how do you vote?
Molly, I vote no.
Margot? Is that a thumbs up? Yes? Okay, Margot's a yes. Tanya?
Yes.
Brenda?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Jason?
No.
We have 5 yes and 2 no. The budget number has been accepted. On warnings and articles.
So, last year, as Priscilla said, you voted to take, $100,000 and, from fiscal year to offset this. I don't know if that's something you want to consider again this year. And there was also discussion of applying, there was a fund balance that we discussed applying up to $900,000, up to $900,000 in a capital reserve fund for improvement at the school. So those are the 2 big ones that I am aware of.
Molly,
Right, oh, hold on, I'm not sure if he's even done yet.
I thought he was.
And
Are we
then,
done?
then there's an article for, the compensation for the board, for the members.
Okay. Priscilla,
I would like to make a motion that we put the $900,000 from the
up
fiscal year.
to 900.
Well, no, because I had that discussion with Jim before, and there's additional money that we'll get above that. So the 900,000 is he felt was a secure fund. So I would make a motion to put 900,000 from the fiscal year 2022 fund balance.
But what if we don't have 900,000?
We will have more than that by what Jim was telling us, so. Is that correct, Jim?
Yes,
Because we've got the other coming in.
again, I don't see the problem, because I mean, typically you wanna put 900,000 in. I mean, that's your goal, and I would just say, to give yourself flexibility, I mean. Under the worst.
If you're good with that number, I am, but that's just not what I heard, so.
Well, no, I would say, I mean, if I'm giving you a recommendation, it would be up to, because. Just if the auditor, because the auditor says it may, she said, this is not cast in stone. But I rounded off to 900, it was 908. So anyways, that's my recommendation to you, but if you want to cast it as 900, hey,
I
have
think
at it.
it's a more secure thing to just do this set amount, especially when we're talking about being over that. And money coming from the SU as well. We certainly should have that amount of money to be doing that. That's why I made it that line.
So you're happy with your motion?
I'm happy with it, but I want to know first whether that's okay if Jim's all right.
There's a motion on the floor
So, yes.
to put $900,000 into capital gains
To capital
for capital improvement of the
at
schools.
the Union High School and authorize the board to spend said funds.
Is everyone happy with that motion?
For which year?
FY 24? Or
No, it's-
you don't have to put a
It's
year.
funds, no, it's funds from fiscal year 22. And those would then just be in reserve
They're just-
for the future boards to decide how to expend them.
Right.
For capital improvements.
Not to be used for our current projects that we want to use.
Well, yeah,
So so it would be for the future boards to decide how they would be utilizing them.
So if it gets approved at our meeting and then next year's board or the next year's board or.
So they wanted to put turf on the field. I'm making something up. No, I'm not, please, but yeah. So I'm just using that as an example, that if a future board, like if it was like, we want to put turf on the field and we've got 900, it's gonna cost us, $900,000, there's $900,000 in reserve and capital improvement, they could make that decision. I'm not having.
There is a motion on the floor. Does anyone have any other discussion? Is everybody okay with the wording? I'm a little uncomfortable with it, so I'm just asking. Okay. David Clark, how do you vote?
David, you were muted. Sorry.
I vote yes.
Margot,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
yes.
June,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
So you got that?
Got that one done.
All right, so what's next?
I don't know if you want to set aside, last year you set aside $100,000 to offset taxes. I mean,
We just put it all in there. We already used it.
so you used it up, so there's
Yeah.
that article gone then.
We have one in there for next year, for the 2025 also, so it's already in there from last year, so that's set aside already.
Okay. You have an article for board members to be compensated, the board chair, $750, board members, $650 each. District treasurer, $800, and the clerk, $125.
you want me to make that motion too, Molly?
I don't know if we need to make a motion. We're just trying to get the articles out
Just to
there,
put
right?
the warrants.
Do we have to warn that every year?
Yes.
I'm just curious because
Yes,
Westminster, if you approve something for 3 years, then it's automatically in the budget.
Westminster had to add it into their budget this year and their articles.
So they must have
it's-
given themselves a raise.
No, but it has to go in every year.
Hmm.
So it's supposed to. Not saying it's always been done correctly.
Okay.
Is that number for the clerk? I'm pretty sure we gave an increase. Is that with the new increase we gave this past year? Or was that just this, what was ever on the article last year?
I wish I could speak to that with a lot of knowledge. I don't, no. So
She's here.
it was lower than that before.
We
It was
increased her
increased to
per
that.
meeting, didn't we? And that 125 was per meeting?
No,
No, that's for just that meeting, isn't it? Just for that.
Oh,
meeting.
the annual, oh, okay.
It's for the one meeting.
Okay,
just need a motion.
So I would make a motion that we add that to our warnings as another article
as written,
as written. With a 750 for the board chair, board members 650 each, district treasurer 800 and district clerk 125.
motion's on the table to accept the warrant, accept the article as read. David, how do you vote?
I abstain, Molly.
Margot,
Yes, you got a
Yes.
thumbs up.
sorry, I gotta look up. Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Jason.
abstain.
Okay, the article is on the,
And then the only other article that we would look to put on there is, if you, we were gonna have a discussion about a bond. So if that would have passed, then you
okay,
would put that.
so
on.
we'll take care of that at 8B. All right. Set the date and the time of the Bellows Falls Union High School annual meeting. It will be March 1st at 7 o'clock here in the auditorium. I can remember when the auditorium be half full when we had that meeting. No, nobody comes.
Times have changed.
Yeah,
Standing room. only.
warrants. You got warrants on the agenda.
I don't know if there was
Any
questions
questions?
on, there were
any
some
questions
questions
on
on warrants that have been
No.
brought up.
Okay, so we're
Yeah.
clear on warrants?
Yeah.
Financial literacy.
I put that on there because I know, John had talked with his folks. They couldn't be here tonight. And so I
Yeah,
just,
Susan and Tim Clark will be here February 13th to give a full presentation on the development and the use of financial literacy in Bellows Falls Union High School.
Thank you. Service dogs on campus.
so I shared with, the board, we actually found.
Oh, I'm sorry. David has his hand
Oh.
up. David, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pass by you.
No, that's okay, Molly. I think I can actually handle it under director's comment. Let's move on to service dogs. This sounds interesting.
All right, thank you.
So, there was made papers here. We actually, in digging around, we found a procedure and rules that was written and revised back on October 13th, 2017 by former Superintendent Mr. Kibbe, that outlines procedures for animals on properties. And in it, it specifically notes under definitions, number 2, the provision of emotional support, well-being, or comfort does not constitute work or task of service animals. And the intent there was that service animals were different from emotional support animals, and that emotional support animals were not to be on property. And so one of the things that I want to do is I want to go back and look at this procedure and policy, because that is in my scope, to see if we can revise that. I've also been in communication with the superintendent for Conval School District in Peterborough, New Hampshire, because they actually have they're piloting a program for a comfort dog. They're seeing quite a bit of success, but they have some rules and things already written around it. One of the most difficult things that I've found with therapy dogs is the certification for therapy dogs can be, it's not as stringent as a service dog. And there are some groups in Vermont that do some strenuous work around therapy dogs and emotional support dogs or animals to make sure that they are up to task. I just want to make sure that we've got, if we're going to have animals in our buildings and we feel that that's important, I think there is validity in it and can be comforting for students and staff, but that we have a well-defined program for why we're doing it and the purpose of those animals. So I just wanted to make the board aware that we were able to uncover that because I was not aware that those procedures already existed, so.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Haas about the service dogs? Looks like he's done his homework and we're working on getting it taken care of. Good. All right, let's move on to new business. And we have announced tuition rate. I've heard a lot of talk about this. So what's your tuition rate, Jim? You're not even gonna say it, you're gonna pass it to me? Let me see the tuition rate. Nobody's telling me.
A lot of misunderstanding with the tuition rate. And essentially, this tuition rate picks up the cost of what you expend to educate a student in a particular school. Now, the only difference, we've backed out any tuitions. For instance, you send some students down to the tech center in Springfield, some students down to Brattleboro. We have pulled those out. So any tuitions that you're paying are pulled out of the cost. And we deal with the cost at this school divided by the 311 FTE students as of October that we had. So what we've done, the exact cost was $22,747. We've rounded it down to $22,500. Why would we do that? Well, typically, we can only charge exactly what we expend. So, you're allowed to charge more. Let's say if for some reason you ended up having to have some other teacher come in and it cost you a lot more, you can bill for any additional amount of money that you have. So this is a cost that will either be charged up or down from what the state allows. There's an allowed tuition, and that's what we're asking for.
Thank you. June.
I just have questions. Speech, occupational, physical therapy, and staff development, and the food services. We don't have to, oh, wait a minute.
Those are all SU
Oh,
Assessed.
but we're still paying for them.
Yep.
So why wouldn't that be considered in the tuition?
Under line 4, special education costs, that $838,000, that represents an assessed value that's charged to the high school for all of those areas that you just talked about.
Okay, thank you.
When I first got onto the school board, it was just over $10,000 for tuition rate. Uh-oh, that explains the white hair. Anyone have any questions or comments? So we have to accept this.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, I need a motion to accept the announced tuition rate. June, you got that?
Sure, I would make a motion to accept the projected tuition rate.
The announced.
Announced
Yeah.
tuition rate
Yep.
rates of 22,500.
Awesome. David,
Yes.
Margot, I'm looking this time. All right. Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Okay, announced tuition rate has been approved. All right, bond for the driveway and roof. We talked about this some in the budget committee meeting. We talked about putting it all into one bond for approximately $4 million, and then the suggestion was made that maybe we should separate it so that it would give the taxpayers a chance to see where they want to be. Some of the history along with this is we had already put the driveway onto an article back in, I think, 2019, and all the towns voted on it, but Rockingham, they didn't get it on their ballot, and it was approved then. So this has been in the work for quite a while. The driveway is something that needs to be repaired. If you hear, all these numbers with Esser will not pay for a driveway. And our hope was to get a bond for that so that we paid per year. We knew what it was gonna be each year. And we got the driveway and the parking lot and the drainage all fixed. The school needs a new roof. The quotes are coming in around $2 million. Give or take, but that number is a pretty solid number. So the question is, the roof could be put under Esser. Esser monies are gonna run out. There's a lot of work to do at the high school. We need to upgrade this high school in the worst way. Even at the SU meeting, everybody admitted that we did a building and grounds tour through all the schools, 6 or 7 of us, and a lot of the schools are really shining, but the high school has got to get some work done on it. It's got to get up to up to a level that is attractive for people. We haven't done anything to it in a long time, so that's what we're heading towards. So the idea was either a bond for the driveway and then a bond for the roof, and have it be 2 articles that the taxpayers will vote on. That seemed to be what the budget committee kind of settled on, was 2 articles, and then if the taxpayers decided, well, yeah, it really needs a driveway, but we're not gonna do the roof this time, they have that opportunity to vote on it that way, or however they vote. It's important that we, it's a lot of money, and I'm not gonna tell you it's not a lot of money, but Jim has helped me understand how a bond works fairly well, and we would have a set price every year that we'd put into our budget. And it would get, at least 1 and maybe 2 projects done that really should have been done probably a long time ago. And I'm just hoping at least we get it on the ballot so that we can see what the taxpayers want to do. There, I've said my 2 cents. Jim, you got anything to add?
I think that would be awesome, and I think that everybody agrees that this is the time to get some vital stuff done. Roofs are critical, and it's gotta go forward.
June?
So would it be an even split? 2 million for
Just
the roof
about.
and 2 million for the driveway?
Mhm.
That's how.
And we're not gonna spend more than what it takes, it's
Right.
Jason.
Just that my only concern is I want to do it. I want to fix the school. I want to have nice things. I don't mind ponying up the money as long as we're gonna get the value and payback back. Say it again, but my only concern is if if these PCBs come back, and we have to pay for those things plus, and then take things down or take the building down or whatever. That's concerning to me. So I want to do it, but I'm concerned.
Go ahead.
John, have they been out yet? Because, so they are slated to come between January and March. To come out and do the PCB testing. I don't know how long it'll take us to get the results.
They've been back and forth with Sean getting
Right.
specifications, so,
They're working, they're
working.
yeah, so they'll be out,
So by the time we vote, June, so by the time we vote, we'll have an answer.
maybe.
And,
I don't want to say yes.
but also, we're not gonna have it done the week after the vote, because, the week after town meeting day. It's gonna take some time, and so if something is wrong, we're not gonna push into putting a new roof on a building that needs something different.
So how would that work if the townspeople voted yes on the bonds? And then something happened and we found out we couldn't do that?
We just don't.
We
take the
just
bonds.
don't do, even though they voted to do it?
Yep, we just don't do
Okay,
it.
all right, okay.
Until it's been approved and then there's a contract and everything passes in the school, so it makes sense, nothing happens.
Okay.
Because we've already voted on it once and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So, David,
Thank you, Molly. I'm going to repeat something which I have said many times in the past, and that is, like it or not, the driveway in its current condition is an effective traffic calming device for young people who frequently have hormones which are anything but calming. Now, having said that, I will support the placement of the bond on the annual warning, because let's find out if people want to spend money.
Priscilla,
I am absolutely against doing bonds at this time. We have money that we have put into capital improvements. We've got a lot of projects going, putting bonds on there for additional projects at this time is not the time to do it. I probably might support it a year from now, but right at this point, I think we've got too many things going on. We've got a lot of ESSER funds out there to expend and be applying for and trying to get to do these. We've got a project approval for the roof project under ESSER. And as Andy said, well, he can move the money to something else, but that takes reapplying and doing a lot of other things to it. At this point, I think we should use those ESSER funds for the next year. I think we should use some of the capital improvement funds that we have in there. We just put a warning on there for the funds from last year. And I really think we're asking the taxpayers to take a bond, which costs extra interest along the way, whereas if we wait, we can see whether we need that and to do that. And we may need it down the road. But right now, we don't know how much it's going to cost to do the improvements we want to do in the building. We don't know whether there's other people that would come forward to give us funds for that, such as the science department from maybe Haver would support that. We have a lot of possibilities out there. And so to put it out there and have taxpayers putting the bill at this time, I think is wrong.
okay,
The driveway does need doing, and yes, we do need to look at that, but we also can't do that at the same time that we're doing the roof or the same time that we're doing other projects in the school, because we can't have that tied up so that we can't get trucks in here to do
Oh,
those projects.
there'll always be a way in here. We have to for safety wise. June, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I would like to make the motion that we warn and let the taxpayers decide, vote for a bond on the driveway and then a bond on the roof project up to $2 million each. I do.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Margot, I'm watching. That's a yes from Margot. Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
No,
June,
Yes.
Jason,
Abstain.
so there'll be 2 more articles on,
I'll just have to work on the wording of those before you can sign it.
Yep, that's fine.
So,
so let me know when you need me.
you might
Jim,
want to dot a couple i's, that's all.
Jim,
Those-
thank you
those
very
have to be
much.
done by us getting ballot too.
But I
Yeah.
think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's what we're talking about. is
Drive
getting it on the
safe.
ballot.
Will do.
All right, next thing we got is a point of a math teacher, and it says Richardson. Who's got that?
I get, I can take it, I can have it in front of me, so, we have been, what we're looking to do is to bring Ira Richardson on. He's been an internship here, at the school this past, semester, doing a great job. And we'd like to bring him on to teach some classes. Part of it is to, I guess, solve a bigger problem. We have had a trouble filling the position, the math position at the middle school for the 8th grade math. We had a virtual teacher that we were using that did not pan out the way we thought it was going to, and we lost that teacher. And so I spoke with John, and what we'd like to do is actually, and talk to all the teachers involved, but have Robert Oakes, who used to be the 8th grade math teacher, last year, come over, finish the year teaching those students. But to do that, we would need Ira to pick up his schedule essentially. And so Robert would still teach one more class here, and then he would go over there and teach a full day. So we are asking a lot of Robert. But picking up Ira would allow us to not have to change any student schedules that are all set to begin here second semester. Part of this also involved Jenny McKay picking up a class. Again, it was part of it is how the schedules were already set for students and the courses that they needed. So
June,
Have we asked Mr. Oakes, is this something he's willing to do?
yeah, so
Or we just tell
yes,
him?
I am not coming here with I'm not coming here with like, oh, well, wishful thought. No, that's what I said. I've spoken with Robert. I've spoken with Ira, I've spoken with Jenny McKay, spoken with Henry, spoken with John. We all sat down a week or so ago, just trying to brainstorm every single way that we thought we could solve this. And the first thing we tried to figure out is how can we do this, without blowing up some classes, and we're looking at some fast-paced geometry classes that we would have to collapse, and those students would get redistributed and they would be taking other things, but they wouldn't be taking that math that they need. So some of it is trying to keep students this current schedule that they have. There were tech students who would be impacted. And so it was, again, trying to solve that problem, but also get a teacher over at the 8th grade.
so I need a motion.
May I give you just a salary? Just Ira would be coming in as a step 4 bachelor's, and prorated out would be $22,136.70.
Does Ms. McKay get any additional salary?
We were looking at compensating Ms. McKay because we are throwing it in at the last minute. And it is a large class. I believe that class is 17, if not, close to 20 students.
What would that be? What would her compensation be?
We would compensate her at her per diem hours. So I don't have that math right in front of me. I apologize.
June,
So will the math teachers that were assigned to my kids' classes for second semester, they may change.
Correct.
Okay.
Without knowing what teachers your kids have.
So, sorry, if you say per diem, so I have in my head, so if they make $100 a week, per whatever, based on 40 hours. So if they teach a class for an hour and a half, it's whatever their salary is for an hour and a half a day times 5.
Yes.
All right, so it's not much.
No.
Okay.
Tanya,
I'm sorry, I think Jason just, so this would be a per diem position?
No, we were talking about Miss McKay, the assistant principal, who would be picking up one class. So she would, on top of her salary, would also be compensated for teaching that class because there is a prep involved in it.
Okay, so Ira coming in would be a full-time math teacher?
Correct.
Is Maureen Parker, I mean, she's on a leave, but would we have then too many math teachers or?
No, Ira's contract is only for the rest of this school year. So.
Oh, okay.
But if he were to apply, like, because we do have a retirement, he would, we could consider him as a candidate for that position.
Thank you.
June,
My only concern is that Miss McKay isn't sitting around twiddling her thumbs, being the assistant principal. So how or who would pick up that slack while she's teaching, because she'd be teaching it. The
Oh, just
math
got it.
class is 5 days.
Right, block 2.
So
It's block 2. And the complexity was every teacher in the math department currently has a block 2 class. And there wasn't you couldn't combine 2 classes at block 2. So then every student in that class, you have to reconfigure their schedule. And so that's part of it, is John would have to pick up some of those responsibilities that she's doing. She's gonna have to pick up responsibilities, she's got to take work home with her because the work doesn't stop.
Right,
So-
right. That's what I was,
Yeah.
because we are still paying her full.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Margo, go ahead.
Margot,
So is this I'm assuming, but please clarify, that this is recommendation for the remainder of this year, and then say Mr. Oakes would come back to the high school next year, assuming that.
Yes, this is this year fix. We are actively, it's just at this time to try and find a math teacher. I mean, it's been difficult all year at the 8th grade. But this time in the middle of the year, no one's coming out of the woodwork. So we have been talking with colleges, anyone finishing up a program that we can maybe get in and stuff like that. And there's just not a lot of people going into math these days. So that's the challenge.
So would that be approximately $100 a day for her? In the past, the principals have not been compensated for teaching a math class, and that's happened several times.
So I wasn't aware of that, that they'd been compensated in the past. Because it hasn't happened in my tenure. I think it's fair to compensate someone who's being asked to do extra work on top of what they're asked to do, and then to continue pick up that work that they're gonna have to go home and do. She's gonna have to prep for that class at some point in time. I understand what Mr. Clark had said earlier. I mean, I think as administrators, we all pick up slack and do things. I went out and was a crossing guard. I mean, we do things we have to do, but when it's on a continual basis for a long period of time, I do think that becomes a hardship, as opposed to if I'm asking her to cover a class for 2 weeks.
David. You're muted.
Let me try it this way. Molly, I have 2 questions. The first question is, what step were we placing Ira on?
4.
The entry step. That's the entry step, David.
Thank you. Okay, and the next question is, who's picking up the action on the middle school instructional time?
The Rockingham.
Rockingham we are gonna go to the Rockingham board and ask them to pick up that salary, so it would be an offset of that salary.
Okay, thank you. That's all you need to know.
Anyone have any other questions? Can we have a motion?
Jim's got a question.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you just, which I'm assuming you have discussed this fully with Miss McKay, because
Yes,
she's taking classes and that's why she's not at meetings
I had a
and-
full discussion with Ms. McKay about it, yes,
and now she's going to take on more.
yes.
Okay, where to go get her?
Okay,
And John is too, because he's having to take up slack for her.
I will tell you that I had face-to-face sit-down meetings with every single one of them.
thank you,
Well,
Andy.
Jenny's was on the phone because I couldn't, we couldn't match up our times and everything,
Yeah.
but I had direct discussions
Okay.
personally with each person.
Okay, so I need a motion to appoint math teacher Ira Richardson for step 4.
I'll make that motion, Molly.
There's a motion on the floor to accept Ira Richardson, the step 4 math teacher for the remaining of this year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, David, how do you vote?
Yes,
Margot, I'm looking.
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes,
Okay, welcome aboard, Ira.
thank you very much.
The next thing we've added the agenda's 8D, accept principal's resignation.
Before that, do we have to, since we ratified having Mr. Oakes teaching at the high school, do we need to
No,
say he's okay to
He's staying here.
lease to the middle school? Okay. Sorry.
John Broadley has sent our superintendent a letter today. Dear Superintendent Hawes and the Bellows Falls Union High School board members. I am writing this letter to inform you that I will not be seeking to renew my contract as the Bellows Falls Union High School principal when my contract is up on June 30th, 2023, for personal and professional reasons. Please accept this letter as my formal communication that I will not be seeking to renew my contract effective on June 30th, 2023. I would like to thank you, the students, parents, staff, and community for the opportunities that have been provided for me over the last 21 years as a teacher, athletic director, assistant principal, and the principal of the Bellows Falls Union High School. While I look forward to the opportunities that lie ahead, it is with a heavy heart that I write this letter, as I love this community, school, students, and staff. I am proud of the accomplishments that we have achieved together throughout my tenure. I assure you, I will give Bellows Falls Union High School 100% effort until the day that I leave. I will end the year strong and continue to work to provide the best academic and social emotional experience for the students of the staff at Bellows Falls Union High School. Once again, thank you for your opportunity to serve as the principal of the Bellows Falls Union High School. Respectfully, John Broadley. So it's with a heavy heart I ask for a motion to accept Mr. Broadley's resignation. Can someone give me that motion?
all right, Molly, I will move that we accept the resignation of John Broadley as principal of Bellows Falls Union High School with regret.
Is there any discussions, questions? All right, so we'll go to a vote. David,
Yes,
Margot,
Yes.
I'm looking, yeah. Tanya,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Priscilla,
I abstain.
June,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
motion passes. We've already had our executive session. I'm gonna go to director's comments. And I am picking David Clark first.
Excuse me. Thank you, Molly. I have 2 things to say. Those of us who were present at the supervisory union meeting last week are aware of the fact that Chris Kibbe has pointed out there's a gaping hole in the teacher pension retirement fund. And furthermore, our business manager, Jim Vizina, explained to us how the powers that be in Montpelier are gaming the system using Title I money to draw it down partially. We're losing about 20% of our ability to hire through title because of it. Believe it or not, I talk with people on other boards, and I've spoken with a couple of board members in other districts, actually one former board member in the form of Dave Scholes, who said, this can't be true. And I also spoke with Mark Shaver up in Twin Valley, who said, this can't be true, but it is true. And if we could get a statement from Jim Vecina, page and a half, not more than 2 pages, explaining the phenomena, I think we might get a useful response for it. Mr. Schaber in Twin Valley is, heaven help him, not only a member of the VSBA board, but a member of the VSBA executive committee. So I imagine that if we devote a small amount of time to pointing it out, that those who know a lot more about how the sausage is made up in Montpelier, meaning the VSBA, might actually take up the cudgels here and do something about it. Okay, that's the first item. The second item is I want to point out that for the last year and a half, we've been playing a game of whack-a-mole. The HVAC, question about whether this building has PCB issues, the existence of the Haber money and how we were going to spend it. It took a long time to tease those things out. We now are maybe approaching the finish line with financial literacy. I was queried by a board member last week as to what I thought we should be talking about. And this is from my October request on financial literacy, a presentation based on a written financial literacy curriculum document. Inclusion in the discussion of staff members actively involved in its creation, and discussion of the proposal which has been floated to make it a graduation requirement. I need to point out to this board that the state of Vermont Board of Education, heaven help me, I hope I got them right, requires 21 credits to graduate in Vermont with a diploma. This high school requires 28. If we add a credit for financial literacy, I think we have an obligation to find another one that we can throw overboard. And I will point out to the board that in the past, 28 credits have at times served as a very effective barrier to kids getting into the tech centers because they got to make up a math or make up an English and are losing access to the technical education programming that might do them a whole lot better than a BFUHS diploma with 28 credits on it. The Carnegie unit is a 20th century anachronism, which bluntly does not serve kids well in the 21st century. It has, shall we say, functioned to pad out staffing when we were faced with declining enrollments and we're slowly moving up the scale from 21 credits. And really, financial literacy, credit, great idea. But we need to talk about at some point in time the whole concept of the 28 Carnegie units to graduate, because it has caused a lot of kids here to not receive the education that they arguably have been entitled to. So it's my spiel, Molly. Thank you for hearing me out. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Margot,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Tanya,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Brenda,
Yes, John, I didn't have opportunity to interact with you a lot while a board member, but I did want to acknowledge that you noted 21 years of service. So I want to thank you for that. And I do give you my thoughts and prayers in transition times. I've had a lot of those and they're not always pleasant. And also I wanted to thank the budget committee. I have to clock out at 6:15 on a job, so I don't get to participate, but I appreciate all of your work and how you've put it together, and Jim, how he shared it, because he's made it very easy, a lot easier to understand. And I appreciate all that work.
Thank you.
Priscilla,
Yeah. I'm personally sad to have John leave. He's been our principal at the most difficult time of any principal I have worked with in some capacity, either as a student, a teacher, or a board member. His empathy and concern for our students sets him apart from other principals. And I think that's to be, we need to give him a claim for that. Really difficult things he's had to face and deal with. So I think we have to be aware of that and just acknowledge all he's done. And the fact that he has pledged to absolutely work to the very last minute is something to say, says a lot for his character. I respect what David said, but I do think it's important that we keep in mind that a student can easily earn 32 credits with the 8 periods a day that they have possible there. So asking for 28 is less than the possibility. And so that gives them 4 chances to make up for any that are, that they need extra time for. So I think asking for that, but I do agree that maybe we need to look at something in exchange for the financial literacy requirement if we're going to add that one to it. Once again, empathy is something that you can learn. It's something that can be taught, the skills in it. And that's something that I think is important that our school be working on. When we walk in and we see the notes of do something kind for someone, and that, I think that's a start in that direction. I think that's a start in being aware that every single person is different. Every single person should be valued. Every single person has something to bring to our school. Every student, every teacher, every administrator, everyone who walks in the door. And so if we can just teach that one thing, get away from any harassment or bullying that might be going on, that we've made a really good amount of progress in what we as board members should be doing and aiming for our school. Thank you.
June,
I'm all set, thank you.
Jason,
I have a lot of things, but I think, it's best that I reserve my director's comments for the next meeting. Give it some time to sink in. It's a tough day. Thank you.
I am sorry to have had to read the letter for accepting Principal Broadley's resignation. Wish you all the best luck in the world to find something for your future and enjoy those 2 little girls of yours. And we gotta keep comparing our girls and our notes and our college stories. So
We will.
but good luck. I think there's a lot out there and you'll do great at whatever you choose to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next date of meeting is February 13th. I just want to also thank everybody on the budget committee. Jim did a great job. And it was good work for all of us to hear somebody that was better at this than we've had in a long time. So it was great to see that. And Andy, I think you deserve some kudos for getting somebody in here that can actually help us write a budget that, you know, looks good and makes sense to people who don't do budgets every day too. So thank you very much. Our meeting is adjourned. So I'll tell you that my schedule